Welcome back. We still have with us in the studio Ibrahim Musa, who is the president of the Media Forum of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria. Yeah. Well, you were telling us about how the intervention of the Sheikh could have saved the day, but you say that the Sheikh was not even called in the first instance. Some people would say, I mean, and I think the report did say, that the call was commendable, but was not necessary. People would think that if indeed, because what led to this was that the Chief of Army Staff was trying to go through, use a road that your members were on, and, you know, they refused him passage, according to the reports that we read and some of the clips that were seen. That's what looked like it transpired. Some people will say that if your sect is truly a law-abiding and respectful sect, that this would not even have happened in the very first instance.
That is not the real story. It was a propaganda clip by the Nigerian army. If you look at it carefully, the road was empty. Only our members were on the road. Let me tell you what happened that day. In the morning, a detachment of the army were sent directly opposite the Husseiniya. It was unusual. They have never been to the place before. So members of the movement came out and asked them, why were you stationed here? They came battle ready. And in the ensuing negotiations, they even fired upon the brothers. They killed 5 people that very morning. And you can imagine what happened. If there is any shooting in a vicinity, the place will be empty. And it is at that very juncture that the convoy of the army chief of army staff arrived. So it's not that we block the road and then the chief of army staff want to pass, we said you will not pass. There was a fracas even before the coming of the chief of army staff. And when they were asking that people should disperse, if you can hear it in Hausa, they are saying we cannot disperse because you have already started shooting. And after the negotiations failed, they even continued their way, they shoot their way out. They killed several people before the chief of staff passed. Is that how it should have been done? No. In fact, they should have had intelligence that there was commotion before the arrival of the chief of army staff. And as the commission rightly said, that intelligence should have asked the chief of army staff to divert the convoy to pass through another road. And there are many roads that he can pass to go to the Emir's palace, not necessarily that Sokoto road. They didn't do that. So I think the issue is not that we blocked the road and the crisis started. This problem has been planned, and they just use this as an excuse to pounce upon the movement. Now the chief of army staff passed. The things should have stopped there. But by 4 o'clock, they encircled the Husseiniya. By 9 p.m., they went to the Sheikh's residence. No any attempt to talk sense to the members of the movement. They just started shooting. Is that how it should be done? My colleague Nota has a question for you.
Ibrahim, I do understand your pain, and
yes,
the report of the panel, the governor said they will look into that and then they'll set up a white paper to see how it can be implemented. But be that as it may, at that commission of inquiry, you said a group, you mentioned one group that you think is biased. But beyond the group, there were individuals that spoke about activities of the sect that resulted in grievous bodily harm, destruction of property, and deaths. And you say your group is not known to be violent.
Exactly.
Why do you say that?
Yes,
why would
our group is not known to be violent, because had it been we are violent people, we would not have been going about our normal life just like any other ordinary Muslim. If you hear any confrontation between us and the movement, it is either those in authorities don't want people to hear our message that people should lead their life according to the Islamic teachings. Especially these Saudi Arabian groups, the Wahhabis, the Izalas, they are vehemently against our preaching. So they normally refuse us access to preach to other people. And this normally results in confrontation. But we hardly, there is no any case apart from all these kind of issues. Also,
Ibrahim, if I may come in here, are you saying that the Islamic movement
Yes.
has confrontations with authorities. Are you averse to abiding by rules, except your own rules?
We haven't broken. No, we don't have any rule per se. Like what I'm. Let me give you an example. When the Sheikh was arrested by the Abacha junta in 1996, what did they charge him before the court? They charged him before the court that he said there is no authority except that of Allah. What is wrong with that? You see, has he abused anybody or destroyed any property, or was he violent? He's accused because of his faith, because of what he believed in.
I know you must have heard. You must have heard several people say.
Any Nigerian citizen.
Just hang on a minute. You must have heard several groups say that your group seems to have problem with almost every government. Why is this the case?
It's because they don't want us to reach other people's minds that they are Muslims and they should live according to the Islamic teachings. This is our main message. You are created by Allah and you should live according to His teachings. And this is what some other groups don't like people to hear from us. And that is why whenever we don't own a mosque in particular, that this is our mosque, Shia mosque, no, we don't own it.
What do the other Muslims preach? I mean, isn't that what they preach as well?
Yes, they preach that, but at the same time, you will find that not in the exact teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You will find that they are not urging people for complete obedience to Allah. So when we say this, they don't like people to hear that.
So they urge them in half obedience?
Exactly.
Then the remaining half is for who?
It's left to them.
If you know what it is that they teach, then you must be able to say what it is that they teach.
That is what they teach.
You cannot allege that they teach half obedience to Allah and then, you know, the remaining half you don't know.
I mean, what I mean is that they didn't teach the other half. We are saying that as a Muslim, you should live completely in accordance with the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what they are saying is not like that. They believe religion is a personal affair between you and God, rituals, and the rest of that. And this is not what Islam is. Islam is an individual law and a social law.
Oh.